It's just over a week now until we get to the next 100 Years Quest chapter. And assuming that it's going to focus on where chapter 101 left off, we're going to be having a Lucy versus Kiria focus fight. Now, this is the one that out of the current matchups going on, it's the one that I am most interested in seeing. The Natsu vs. Suak one was really cool. Very happy about it. I was super stoked to see Natsu's new way of using Dragon Force, and then inspired Dragon King mode. He's got a really cool new style of fighting that he's developed in that match. But I wanted to see how the Lucy and Kiria one goes the most, because that one I think is going to be the most intriguing of a fight to see. Because as I mentioned, like, the big difference I think between Mimi and Kiria is that's gonna probably be majorly for Lucy is just the attitude of Kiria, but at the same time that attitude I think is gonna help her because Kiria is extremely reckless, and on top of that, Lucy is already putting up a good show against her. And I don't think Kiria is going all out yet, but I don't think that Lucy is going to have a huge amount of difficulty with Kiria. The only thing that Kiria has, at least from what she's shown, is that at least from what she's shown, we don't have anything that's that big of a threat to Lucy. Because Lucy already saw her whole hypnosis ability. She logically would know about it because it would make sense that she would talk to Urza at some point, or Urza just told the group of what it was. And like that, she just goes into Capricorn dress, bam, the sunglasses counter. We know how ocular abilities like that work. Fairy Tail, if you have something that obstructs it, or like a fake eye, it messes with the way that the magic works, because it messes with the fundamental way that it implements into your opponent. So its effect is very diluted. So at least for the half eye, where it's the sunglasses can just straight counter it, because it's just a blockade that doesn't let the requirements of said magic go off. Outside of that, the match itself, I think Kiria is going to actually start fighting a lot more seriously, because we don't have an actual really good understanding of Kiria's power, because we know her, we know people above her. We understand really kind of where she sits. I mean, she's kind of the weakest member of Diablos. Honestly, I'd say maybe the only person weaker than her is Nibaru, you could say, but I kind of think Nibaru is more of a threat because he was willing to just use Dragon Force, where I don't think the other ones, the other members of Diablos, I think are smart enough to not do it. I don't even question, I don't even want to question the idea if Wraith could use Dragon Force. I have no idea. No idea how that one would work specifically. I never even thought about it. Maybe a video on that at some point. But with Kiria, Kiria doesn't seem like the smartest, but I don't think she's dumb enough to just use Dragon Force to win a fight with Lucy. Because why would she? The worst case scenario for her here is that she takes an L. Whereas if she uses Dragon Force, there's she doesn't have any way of stopping it, and then she's just gonna become a dragon. And we have no idea if the Diablos, if 5th gen post Dragon Force ever regain their sanity or not, if they ever kind of regain consciousness. Because we saw Nibaru was clearly losing his mind. He was becoming feral. He already was a primitive kind of Smeagol type guy. So making him even dumber was a bad idea for him. It just made him into essentially wild animal. So I don't think Kiria is going to do it. It doesn't really make that much sense to me unless she's so frustrated about these L's that she's just deciding to throw in. But it's what are you gonna do after that? What is your plan? If she does that, I don't think that she's an idiot. She's a dangerous idiot, but she'll be an idiot. The only way I could ever see a character using Dragon Force for 5th gen in a way that would make sense for them would be you're in a scenario where it's either you use this and defeat your enemies or die. Because it's well, why would you just use it if you're going to just lose? And it's you can rest, recover, and get back up, and then continue onward. and do stuff again. I would much rather take the loss than like lose my mind for who knows if potentially forever. But Lucy so far, like, she's just her Cancer Star dress, and I think that's a really strong sign that she is going to be really putting Kiria to work, because the Cancer Star dress was one of the logical two ways that I said that she could be able to just fight Kiria, and one being Taurus and one being Cancer, because you have super strength and blades. So if you combine them, she would essentially be the same as how Kiria fights. She is using a bladed type of magic, and she is using extremely extremely enhanced super strength. Because we saw that Gajil and Mirajane couldn't mess with Metro's golems, and Gray's spells weren't even budging them. But Taurus Lucy was able to like put damage to them, like as we saw. And then use Aqua Stream to tear it apart. That's a different thing. So if she used those at the same time, Cancer and Taurus, which design wise I think would probably be pretty cool. I wonder how that would look. Like some horn blades. I don't really know. But she would logically be able to use the same level of offensive fighting style, assumingly better. She's already doing this well with just Cancer, and not even like with her spirits also there helping her fight. She was just in her Cancer Star dress. Kiria also again was not fighting too seriously, but still, unless Kiria decides to start like pulling out some new stuff we haven't seen from her that's actually really dangerous, maybe some new hacks or some new big dangerous attacks. Maybe she has some form of like I would try to think that something to be beneficial to her without it being a new form, because as far as we know, Diablos members don't have extra forms besides Dragon Force. So maybe she could have something that's kind of like a Beyblade, or kind of like a Jack from just super easy example, where the more he cuts, the faster he gets. Maybe something like that for Kiria, for her moveset. Because it would be something that doesn't add something extra to her, doesn't have her use Dragon Force. Well, it adds an extra ability, but you know what I mean? Like it doesn't add an extra form. And it makes it so she would be a rising threat. I think that would be pretty cool. I just want something from her that she's able to actually put out a fair level of effort. I'm hoping that we get more than just 102, but I'm fine if their fight ends on 102. Because even though it's the fight that I really want to see, I know it's not a big deal fight in the story, because this is realistically a fight between the weakest two people in here, and it's not really like, you can't really call them that weak, because like they're only the weakest in their respective groups because the ceilings for the respective groups are so powerful. But it is like the lowest level fight we're probably going to get. But I think it's one of the more interesting ones. I want to get more of Kiria, though, in this fight. I'm hoping to get more of Kiria's character, find out a little bit more about her, and maybe understand a little bit more of like Diablos and like what's going on with her and their whole situation. Ultimately, though, I think Lucy's going to have about a medium level of difficulty. I think Lucy is going to have I don't think she's going to be nearly as exhausted as she did against Mimi. Because, like, the big things difference in Mimi and Kiria is Kiria has, like, a more aggressive personality. But I'd say for how Lucy fights, Mimi's whole, being immovable, being this tank that, is obviously extremely sturdy. For a caster like that, somebody who, if they advance, it's hard. You either have to pretty much get away from them or attempt to push them back, even if just a little bit. Because if you can knock back Kiria, then like imagine if you're Lucy, you get in a situation where your opponent's rushing her, and you do something to knock them back so you can perform an attack, versus somebody you can't knock back. So if something like, say, you needed time with the Rhinometria, for example, to cast a spell, you would have to have something like Gemini or Get Away to try and do it, because your opponent is not going to be really like pushed back and faltered to where they're going to not make it time to stop your ability. She's just going to keep going. Whereas with Kiria in this situation, I think Lucy is able to do have different like abilities and combos to keep Kiria at bay while setting up a different higher end abilities, and she's going to do fine. Like I said, I think she's gonna have a medium level of difficulty. I think she's gonna beat her while on her feet, pretty proud, and hopefully also at the same time, I think it'll really give like a strong understanding of like Lucy's position now and like where she is. Because Kiri is not somebody that is without of realistic range for Lucy, and what happened to chapter 102, Lucy's doing pretty good. So we'll see how this next chapter goes. I really see Lucy just putting up a really good display. Because Kiri's recklessness versus Lucy's intelligence and combo strategy style of fighting, I think she's gonna just run her over. But anyway, but we'll see. Maybe Kiri can surprise me. But other than that, comment below. Thumbs up the video, but friend the like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. From that, I appreciate you guys subscribing. Thank y'all for listening. Bye.